7:39. A good morning to you. Now, it's fair to say that for lots of people, 2020 was a tough year. You may remember our next guest, Abigail Parker. She moved to Dorset for a new job that disappeared because of the pandemic. Lost everything in a house fire. Now things are looking up. She'll soon have a permanent home. She's also been producing a leaflet of information that she wished she'd been given when all this was happening. And a part of it's going to focus on universal credit. So that was going at the same time. And if you remember universal credit, it was really hard to work out exactly what was happening. Abby, good morning to you.
Hi there, good day.
Welcome back to the show. Tell me at the moment then, what's your life like post all the trauma of 2020?
The situation is still fairly the same at the moment, financially quite dire. Obviously, last time we spoke about the removal of the UC uplift, which hasn't affected me that much because they were already deducting £100 a month anyway. So that's basically the same. I did have to take UC to court to get that overturned, which I did, which was great.
Is it easy to take universal credit to court, or does that require an enormous amount of work?
I suppose it depends on the situation. For me, it was fairly straightforward, and I spoke directly to the judge, and he immediately overturned their decision. So they were basically penalising me at a time when I had nothing, and he overturned that. So that's great, and it's good news for other people I'd encourage them to appeal bad processes or decision makings, because you need to fight back a little bit sometimes. Was it the fact that you lost universal credit that you were appealing? They basically decided to take back the money for the month of January when the fire occurred for the rent. They said that was an overpayment, so they were taking £100 a month back for that, which left me under the £200 a month.
Gotcha.
It was incorrect, and the judge overturned it, but it took me 7 months to get that done, so it's a bit of a long process. Wow, so even though they saw the fact that you had a property, even though that it had been burnt and you couldn't be in it, the money had been taken, they wanted it back from you, and you were saying, hang on a second, my house essentially burnt down, you're being overly harsh, and the judge agreed with you. Yeah, exactly that. And they've kind of written the law in a way to protect themselves, but we do have to fight back on these things, if it's unjust. So again, I encourage people to do so. Tell me about this booklet that you've been creating, which hopefully will make understanding some of the process a little bit easier. Yeah, I really want to create something positive out of all this horror. So I'm working with the local town councillor, and we're basically producing a leaflet to give people like a mini directory of where to go for help, which you don't really get. You've got to kind of find that out for yourself, and it took me months. So I just want to make it a bit easier for other people and to let them know help is available, because it doesn't seem like that when you're fighting with the system. But, there are great resources out there, and I want to get people that information, really. Yes, and it can be hard under pressure. You were under extreme pressure. When your home burns down and you lose your job, then you're trying to collate, I imagine, lots of different numbers and websites from different departments, and they're never all in one place, are they? They're always spread around, and it requires a lot of admin to pull it all together. Exactly. And it can take you weeks, and a lot of people just don't have the opportunity to do that. If they can't get online, and they don't necessarily want to deal with these big organisations anyway, so they don't even make the calls. So I'm trying to create an in-between from that, so that they get help face-to-face and, encourage them to carry on. Is it not possible when you walk into one of the advice services to say, this is what's happening to me, can you help? Or do they go, right, these are the departments you need, and they give you some bits, but it's not the whole puzzle? Well, because we've been in lockdown, everything's online or over the phone anyway. There haven't been any face-to-face meetings this year, so it's all done, online. So if you don't have access to that, you're stuck. And I didn't. My phone and laptop was destroyed in the fire, so I had to wait 4 months just to get a new phone. Yeah, I see what you mean. What you're saying sounds like common sense, doesn't it? It sounds like, well, that would be a normal thing. Have one page with loads of different numbers on it. But life's never quite like that. We spoke to Chris Brady from Swanage, who's part of the local Labour group and been helping to produce the leaflets. This is why he's supporting you.
Just as a campaign to protect our health services in in Dorset and Swanage has been a cross-party issue. So the same will be true here. It's a humanity issue here, isn't it, really? A moral issue of helping people navigate what can seem a very fearsome and difficult situation.
I mean, these things can be complicated with your housing, your bill, your funding, looking after your welfare funding. What's the situation now? You've got permanent accommodation coming, and are you working?
There sounds like there's permanent accommodation coming. It's still to be confirmed, but if that happens, it will change my situation because it's a permanent address. Working, I'm still signed off by the doctor at the moment, but hopefully next year I can get on with that. In the meantime, I'm volunteering with the food banks. I'm hopefully can help citizens advice. And obviously, as you just broadcast Chris's little comments about the state of play, they're funding the leaflet. So they're being very proactive locally, which is brilliant to have that support as well.
Abi, before you go, I'm mindful that the last time we spoke, you were in, this is my language, not yours, but it was a particularly dark, particularly tough place. I'm wondering, as you reflect back on this and you can see some light at the end of the tunnel, does any of it feel like it's helped shape you as a person? It's been positive? Or do you look at it all and go, it was a nightmare, this leaflet's it, and then I'm going to try and forget about it?
Oh, no, I'm definitely not forgetting about it. It's life-changing what I've been through, and it has been really horrific, but it's restored my faith in humanity because there's so many good people out there who are willing to help, and that's changed my mindset and encouraged me to carry on. And I would say to anybody listening, if you struggle, please look for help and don't give up because it is out there. You just might have to look in different areas than the system for help, yeah?
Good advice. Abi, thank you for your time this morning. Abi Parker there, moved to Dorset for a new job. That finished with the pandemic, then lost everything in a house fire, and I mean absolutely everything, and is now piecing her life back together and has produced a leaflet for Swanage Town Council with all the things that she wished she had at that point on the leaflet. Hopefully that will get rolled out across the country.